Hey, what's up guys, and welcome into this video where I'm gonna show you 5 techniques to mix your tech house kicks. So before starting with this tutorial, I would like to remind you that all of the samples used are from our new pack Mirage Volume 2, which is a collection of tech house one-shots, samples, loops and serum presets, and you can check it out from the link in the description below. So before starting, let's have a listen to the loop that we're gonna work with. The first technique is gonna be adding a top kick. So as you can see, this is how the kick sounds. And if we wanna add a top kick, we're gonna duplicate the track. We're gonna call the first one top and the second one main. So first thing is gonna be choosing the right sample. So we have to find a kick drum which has a really nice attack, like this one for example, and then we're gonna grab an EQ and remove all the low frequencies, and we're gonna do the opposite on the main kick, so removing all of the top frequencies. And on the top kick you can also do some other processing, so for example adding a little bit of saturation with the drum bass to add some body. The second technique is kind of similar to the first one, but it has a different purpose. So instead of adding a top kick, we're gonna add a percussion, and this percussion is gonna only be added in the drop section to add some power to the kick drum. So let's look for some percussions. So this is really useful in tech house tracks where you have a lot of drums and percussions and hi-hats, and it will help you to make the kick stand out a bit more, especially in the drop part. So we're only gonna use these MIDI files only in the drop and not in the breakdown, where the kick is not that important. So the next technique has to do with the EQ of the kick drum. So we're gonna load an EQ8 from Ableton, and there are different areas in the spectrum that you can change to make the kick sound better. So around 100 to 200 you have kind of the part which is conflicting with the bass line, and you have to really be aware when reducing or boosting this part. As you can hear, you can really lose a lot of body by messing around with these frequencies. Another range which is really interesting for the kick drum is the 200 to 500 range, where there is a lot of boxiness and muddiness. So cutting out this part with a notch EQ is generally a good idea to have a much cleaner mix. The next technique has to do once again with the EQ, and in particular we are gonna talk about the EQ of the kick and the bass line. So one thing that we can do is gonna be boosting certain frequencies on the kick drum and reducing those same frequencies on the bass line and vice versa. So let's start with the kick, for example. So in this case we're boosting at around 180 Hz and we are reducing the 53 Hz, and we can copy this EQ and paste it in the baseline channel and simply reverse the gain. So let's put a minus before and a plus here. So in this way the kick and the bassline will have enough space to sound good in the mix and they won't conflict with each other. Also, you want to make sure to not overdo this technique, otherwise you will lose a lot of character and body from either the bassline or the kick drum. So just a subtle amount of dB, like between 2 or 3 dB of reduction and boosting is recommended. The last technique is gonna be the processing of the kick drum, so we're gonna talk about the compression and the saturation. So for the compression we use the glue compressor basically to shape the attack and the body of the kick. So usually if we set a slow attack, so from 3 up to 30, we're gonna leave space for the punchiness of the kick drum and we're gonna reduce the body, and vice versa. If with a fast attack we're gonna mainly trigger the transient. Also, you want to make sure for this case as well to not overdo it too much, so around 2 to 3 dB of compression is good. So as you can see here we are going for a slow attack, that means that we are compressing the body of the kick, and as you can see here also from the waveform you can see that at the beginning the attack is much quieter than the body, so we are just attenuating the body and boosting a bit of the attack. Also, one thing that we want to make sure is to add back the gain of the compression with the makeup. And the other plugin that we're gonna use for the processing is gonna be the drum bass, and this one is used once again to add some saturation and harmonics to the kick drum. Once again, I'd recommend you to use it in parallel mode, so not only changing the amount of drive, but also adjusting the dry and wet. Obviously this processing with the drum bass will boost the volume a little bit, so you have to make sure that you are taking it back to the original loudness. And yeah, basically that's all for this tutorial. Don't forget to check out Mirage Volume 2 from the link in the description below. Also let us know what tutorial would you like to see next, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!